SCP-049, also referred to as the Plague Doctor, is a Euclid class object under the SCP Foundation's containment. It is a humanoid figure that resembles a 15th to 16th century European plague doctor, with a black robe and a white-beaked mask. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height. He bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While SCP-049 appears to wear thick robes and a ceramic mask, the garments that it has seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time, and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever forms beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. SCP-049 is very well-mannered, respectful, and polite, so it makes little attempt to escape. It seems to truly believe what it is doing is for the greater good, stating that its cure is most effective. It is unknown why SCP-049 believes that it must eradicate this so-called disease, or what the disease truly is. SCP-049 is extremely courteous and affable to both human and fellow SCPs alike. It shows that it still has the victim's best interests in mind when performing procedures. While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with the Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what is called the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to the Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-049 has a sort of death touch, instantly killing anyone who gets within its range. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-049's victim have been invariably inconclusive. SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence. Though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within the Black Doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2, or in other words, reanimated corpses with similar traits to zombies. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked or if directed to by SCP-049. SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. SCP-049 was discovered by the Foundation during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban, south of France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-049-2, as well as SCP-049. While law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049-2, SCP-049 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 049-2 were dispatched, SCP-049 willingly entered Foundation custody. Here, he proceeds with an interview with Dr. Ham. He seems pleased by the doctor's medical knowledge, remarking by how his lab is clean of the pestilence. Dr. Ham asks the SCP about what the pestilence is, to which it responds to how the zombies-like beings the Foundation encounters were cured. SCP-049 then proceeds to explain how he cured the humans of the pestilence, and then instructs the doctor to set up his own laboratory to carry out his surgeries, and research, to which the log ends. While in containment at Site-19, SCP-049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on various mammalian corpses it has been provided. SCP-049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. SCP-049 will often seek to share its findings with the members of the Foundation staff. During several follow-up interviews with Dr. Ham, he notes that SCP-049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. He has watched it now for over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not ever seem to change, SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. He thinks the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Shortly after SCP-049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects in the SCP-049-2 instances. This continued for a period of several months, during which SCP-049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol, and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it into an instance of SCP-049-2. Shortly after the body was found by the Foundation staff, SCP-049 was in an agitated and quite mournful yet assured state, explaining that Dr. Ham was infected with the pestilence, and emphasized time and time again that Dr. Ham is cured. There are many theories to SCP-049's origins. One possible origin is during the time of the Black Plague. 049 was just a simple poor man living in a village with his wife and daughter. Suddenly, he saw an actual plague doctor riding a horse near his house, before falling in front of him and succumbing to the plague. The man looked at the now dead doctor, and he had the idea to steal the doctor's garments and disguise himself as the doctor, to scam people and gain money for his family. He visited different regions and spread death, with people believing he was a real doctor, since he was somehow immune to the plague. After becoming rich, he returned to his home and to reunite with his family, but to his horror, found his wife had succumbed to the plague and was partially eaten, while his daughter soaked in blood but was thankfully still alive, thanks to her immunity which she had inherited from her father. When SCP-049 was confronted by SCP-343, an entity who claimed to be God and the creator of everything, 343 chastised 049 for killing people, including Dr. Hab robbing his daughter of her father. 049 tried to explain that he was helping humanity, but 343 accused of killing his victims for no reason, and that the pestilence he was trying to cure was actually the free will. After the two entities conversed for quite some time, 343 realized that nothing he did would change SCP-049's mind, and stated that SCP-049 came from those dark places which even he couldn't see. Currently, SCP-049 is in the Foundation's laboratories, carrying out his experiment and being generally respectful and cooperative with staff members. However, there are the usual incidents when SCP-049 detects the pestilence in someone and then kills them, to which the staff members then have to bring SCP-049 to its holding cell, to which he willingly goes and does not show aggression when the pestilence isn't around.